Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are jumping right into a world that's all around us. Literally. Sound. But not just sound itself. We're looking at the huge market behind controlling it, managing it. Acoustics.
It's a fascinating field, acoustics.
Yeah.
And it's touching, well, almost everything now. Buildings, cars, even our gadgets.
Exactly. And we've got this detailed market report.
Yeah.
This is your source material we're working from today to guide us.
Right.
So think of this as, getting you quickly up to speed on the key numbers, the trends, what's really happening in the global acoustics market.
We'll unpack what this report says, see where the industry stands, and where it might be going.
Perfect. Let's dive into what your sources reveal. Where do we start? The big numbers.
Yeah, let's kick off with those headline figures.
Yeah.
The report puts the global acoustics market size at USD $2,978 million in 2025.
Okay, so nearly $3 billion right now.
Yeah.
So that's already pretty significant.
It is, and it's not standing still. The projection in the report has it reaching USD $4,928.577 million by 2033.
Wow, okay. So almost $5 billion. That's quite a jump in, 8 years?
It is. That works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 6.50% between 2025 and 2033.
6.5% a year globally. That's definitely healthy growth.
Yeah.
So maybe step back for a second. What's the main goal here? What is this market actually doing? Your report's intro touched on this.
It did, yeah. Fundamentally, acoustics is about managing sound. So the report talks about things like designing spaces, concert halls, studios for the best sound quality,
Sure.
but also tackling noise pollution, especially in cities. Big issue there. And just making things more comfortable. Quieter factories, smoother car rides, better sound inside buildings.
And looking ahead.
Well, the report mentions aiming for quieter and healthier environments overall, big focus on sustainable materials too, and integrating acoustics with smart home or smart building tech.
Okay, that sets the scene nicely. A big market, growing fast, dealing with something fundamental. But what's driving that 6.5% growth? What are the specifics on the ground?
Right, let's get into the weeds a bit. The report lays out the market dynamics, the drivers, the things holding it back, and the current trends. Let's pull those details directly from your source.
Sounds good. Market dynamics it is. Let's start with the drivers. What's pushing this market forward, according to the report?
Okay, so the source points to a few key things. Number one, infrastructure and construction. Just lots of building happening globally.
Right. More buildings, more need for sound control. Makes sense. Offices, homes, hospitals.
Exactly. And tied to that, there's this growing awareness, people understanding how noise actually affects health. Stress, sleep problems.
Yeah, I've read about that. It's not just annoyance, it's health.
Right. So acoustic comfort is becoming more valued. Plus, there's a big push for greener materials.
Ah, the sustainability angle. So materials made from recycled stuff or things that biodegrade.
Yeah, precisely. That demand is increasing, fitting into those broader green building trends.
What about rules and regulations? Government's pushing this.
Oh, definitely. That's a major driver. The report mentions stricter noise pollution laws coming into effect. It specifically calls out the European Noise Directives and the U.S. EPA Noise Control Act as examples. These laws basically force improvements.
And with more people moving to cities, urbanization must play a part.
Big time. More people in cities means more construction, yes, but also just more noise in general, in denser areas. So more need for solutions.
It's not just buildings, though, is it? What about smaller scale stuff? Electronics.
Good point. Yeah, the report highlights rising demand in consumer electronics. Think headphones, home theaters. People want better sound, more immersive experiences, but maybe without bothering the neighbors.
Or being bothered by the neighbors.
Exactly. And cars, too, right? You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, automotive sector.
It's huge for acoustics. Lots of materials go into making cars quieter inside. Better driving comfort, sure, but also crucial for making those fancy in-car audio systems actually sound good. You don't want engine noise drowning out your music.
Okay, so those are some strong drivers. What about the brakes? The market restraints? What's slowing growth down, potentially?
Well, the main one the report flags is cost. These acoustic solutions, they can be expensive up front. The materials, getting them installed properly, maybe maintenance.
So the initial investment can be a barrier.
It can, yeah. Especially for projects really focused on the bottom line, or maybe in certain regions.
Is everyone actually aware of the benefits? Does that play a role?
The report suggests that in some growing economies, there's maybe less awareness of the full payoff of good acoustics. If you don't fully grasp the value, like improved productivity in an office or better healing in a hospital, it's harder to justify spending the money.
And are they tricky to install sometimes? especially in existing buildings.
Yeah, that's another point. Integration can be a challenge. Trying to retrofit acoustic solutions into older buildings or squeezing them into really compact modern designs like, say, electric vehicles, it can get complicated and costly.
And raw materials, always a factor in manufacturing.
Yep. Listed as a restraint too, the price of things like fiberglass, foamed plastics, composite fibers, it can fluctuate. That creates uncertainty for the manufacturers and can affect the final price tag.
Okay, drivers pushing, restraints pulling. Now, what about the cutting edge, the market trends? What's happening right now that's shaping the future, according to your report?
Innovation is a big one, just constant development in acoustic tech and materials. The report mentioned some really cool stuff like smart acoustic materials.
Smart materials, what do they do?
They can actually change their properties dynamically, like adapt their sound absorption based on the noise levels in the room or even the specific frequencies of the noise.
Whoa, okay. That's clever. Reacting in real time.
Kind of, yeah. And also nanomaterials, using tiny, tiny structures to create materials that are really lightweight but still super effective at blocking sound.
And is this tech connecting with other trends like smart buildings?
Absolutely. That's another key trend mentioned, integrating acoustic solutions into smart building systems. So you could have real-time noise monitoring across a whole building, and the system could adjust things automatically.
We talked about cars and entertainment driving demand. Are they also where we see big trends?
For sure. The report emphasizes how the expansion and the tech advances in entertainment and automotive are really demanding more sophisticated acoustics. High-end cinemas, recording studios, concert halls, they need incredibly precise sound control.
And cars. It's more than just quiet now, right? It's about the sound inside.
Exactly. The trend is towards enhancing the whole audio experience. Think 3D audio systems, advanced surround sound becoming more common in cars. To make those work well, the car's internal acoustics have to be spot on.
Any other tech trends mentioned?
Yeah, the report also notes the use of advanced tools. Things like virtual noise mapping, basically computer simulations of how sound will behave in a space, and even AI-powered tools to analyze noise more effectively.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, so with all that happening, how does the report actually break down this market? Let's look at the segmentation. Maybe start with the materials, the material outlook.
Right. So the report segments by material type. It says glass wool is the leader, the biggest category.
Why glass wool?
Mostly because it's used so widely in construction, residential, commercial. It's relatively affordable, and it does a decent job absorbing sound. Pretty standard stuff.
Okay. And what's the fastest growing material type?
That would be fabric soundproofing materials. This segment's growing quickly because, well, these materials can actually look good. They offer architects more freedom design-wise.
So aesthetics matter. Where would you see those typically?
Places like home studios, maybe trendy office spaces, theaters. Anywhere the look is as important as the sound control.
And the report lists others too, I imagine, a whole range.
Oh, yeah. It mentions stone wool, other acoustic fabrics, insulators, then things specifically designed as dampeners or diffusers, noise barriers, even acoustic ceilings, foamed plastic, fabric wall materials, lots of options.
Okay, paints a picture of the toolkit. Now, what about the end-use segmentation? Where's all this stuff going? Who's using it?
According to the report, the biggest slice of the market share goes to the industrial, HVAC, and OEM segment.
Okay, break that down. Industrial HVAC.
Yes, so industrial settings, factories, plants. HVAC is heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, think quieter ductwork, fans. And OEM is original equipment manufacturers, companies building machines or vehicles that incorporate acoustic materials right from the start.
What's driving that big share?
Mainly stricter rules about noise in the workplace, plus businesses wanting quieter, more efficient equipment overall.
And which end-use sector is growing the fastest?
That would be building and construction, growing rapidly. This links back to those drivers we talked about: urbanization, the green building movement, and tighter building codes that focus more on sound isolation now.
So making sure apartments aren't too noisy, offices are productive.
Exactly. Comfort for occupants is a bigger priority in residential, commercial, institutional buildings. And the transport sector, as we already discussed, is also called out as a really key end-use segment.
Okay, this helps clarify the what and the where inside the market. Now let's zoom out. The regional analysis. Where in the world is this market concentrated, and where's the fastest growth, according to your report?
All right, geographically, North America comes out on top in 2025. It held the biggest share, over 40%. That translated to just over $1.1 billion in revenue.
Wow, 40%. So North America is the dominant player right now. What's its growth like?
Growing steadily. The report projects a CAGR of 5.3% for North America. Solid.
Okay, what about Europe? Also a big player.
Yep, Europe's significant too, over 30% market share. That was around $863 million back in 2025. And its growth rate is actually slightly higher than North America's at 5.6% CAGR.
Interesting. Okay, North America and Europe are the big established ones, but you hinted earlier about the fastest growth. Where's that happening?
Yeah, that's the Asia-Pacific region, APAC. Its share in 2025 was smaller, around 23%, about $714 million. But its projected growth rate is way out front, a CAGR of 9.3%.
9.3%. Okay, that's where the real acceleration is.
Yeah.
Driven by all that construction and urbanization we mentioned.
Seems very likely, yeah. That rapid development is fueling huge demand there.
What about the other regions mentioned in the report? South America, Middle East, Africa.
Okay, so South America had just over 5% share, roughly $113 million, growing at 6.8% CAGR. The Middle East was around 2% share, about $119 million, but growing faster at 7.0% CAGR.
So Middle East growing slightly faster than South America. Interesting. And Africa.
Africa had the smallest share, around 1%, about $65 million, and its projected growth is also the slowest at 2.7% CAGR, according to the report's figures.
So a bit more modest growth there compared to, say, APAC or the Middle East.
Right. So North America and Europe are the current giants, but APAC is clearly the growth engine looking forward.
Does the report zoom in on any specific countries within those regions?
It does give a few country-level details. For instance, confirming North America's dominance, the U.S. had the single largest country market size, $869 million in 2025.
Okay.
And underscoring that APAC growth story, India is projected to have the fastest growth rate of any country mentioned, an impressive 11.2% CAGR.
11.2%. Wow. Are there specific reasons given for why certain countries are doing well?
Yeah, give some examples. Like Canada's growth is linked to strict regulations. Germany benefits from infrastructure projects and high awareness. China has major players, helpful laws, and a focus on green building.
Right.
Brazil and Argentina also have strict laws. Plus, Argentina sees demand from its auto and construction sectors. Turkey has similar drivers to China, key players, laws, green building. Qatar benefits from infrastructure development and growing awareness. And Nigeria's growth is tied to its expanding building industry.
There's often a mix of regulation, construction activity, and local industry needs.
Exactly. It shows how the global trends play out differently depending on the local context.
That adds some good flavor. Okay, last piece of the puzzle from the report. The competitive landscape. What are the big companies up to? Who are they?
The report names some major players you might expect. Johns Manville, Saint-Gobain, Rockwell, Owens Corning, 3M giants in materials and building products.
And what kind of strategies are they using according to the source?
Well, it highlights some interesting R&D areas. One is developing active noise control systems.
Active noise control. Like noise-canceling headphones, but for a room or a car.
That's a great way to think about it, yeah. Using sound waves to cancel out unwanted noise. They're also looking at bio-inspired acoustics?
Meaning?
Like studying structures in plants or animals to see how they manage sound and trying to replicate those properties in materials. And using advanced manufacturing like 3D printing. The report mentions a company called NOWN as an example, using 3D printing for sustainable acoustic products for architecture.
So lots of innovation on the tech and materials front. Are there any big business moves mentioned? Mergers, new factories?
Yes, the report gives two specific recent examples. One is Owens Corning buying Masonite, a huge deal, almost $3.9 billion, announced in May 2024. That's major consolidation.
Yeah, right.
And the other is Ross Secool North America planning a new manufacturing plant in Washington State, announced March 2024. They're investing in more capacity, even using new tech like electric melting. Shows confidence in future demand.
Okay, great examples of strategic activity. So we've really dug into this report now. We've seen the size, the growth, the drivers, the materials, the regions, the companies. Let's try and wrap this up, bring it all together.
Yeah, I mean, the big takeaway from your report is clear. This is a significant market already, nudging $3 billion. And it's set for strong growth, heading towards that $5 billion mark by 2033. A solid 6.5% global CAGR.
Absolutely. And it's being pushed by this convergence of factors, isn't it? You've got governments demanding quieter environments through regulation.
Right.
You've got people becoming more aware of noise and valuing comfort. You've got technology delivering these smarter, greener materials.
and just huge demand from booming sectors like construction and automotive, especially in rapidly developing parts of the world.
Yeah, that regional story is key, too. North America and Europe are the big markets now, but wow, that near double-digit growth in APAC, led by places like India, that's where the future acceleration really seems to be.
Definitely the region to watch.
So, thinking about all this, especially those trends towards smart materials, AI analysis, integrating acoustics right into the fabric of buildings and vehicles, it makes you wonder, here's a final thought maybe for you to chew on based on this deep dive.
Okay.
As this market keeps growing and the tech gets even more sophisticated, allowing for this really precise, maybe even dynamic control of sound, how is that going to fundamentally change the sound of our everyday lives? Will the future just be quieter? Or will it be more deliberately tuned? And what does that actually mean for how we experience the world around us through sound?